One of the biggest Russian attacks since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. On Monday, more than 200 aerial threats were launched against Ukraine. Nearly 30,000 Russian troops were redeployed in the Kursk region. What's the situation there? Ukraine won its first medals at the Paris Paralympics. Hi, I'm Eva Kucherenko. This is UNITED24 Media. A child was killed when Russia attacked Kharkiv using guided aerial bombs, reported the city mayor. At that moment, the girl was on the playground. In another part of Kharkiv, a fire broke out in a 12-story residential building, which is now partially destroyed. At least 3 civilians were killed. According to the regional governor, so far 28 people are reported injured in these attacks on Kharkiv.
A children's playground, in addition to 2 private residential buildings, were razed to the ground, and work is still underway. Also, a multi-story building has been destroyed. 40 people are injured and hospitalized. And I want to say that in one place where an aerial bomb struck a multi-story building, the work is still ongoing and the situation is very difficult.
At least 2 people were killed and 11 others were injured in a Russian airstrike on Sumy on the night of August 13. According to the prosecutor's office, the Russian military targeted an industrial facility. Ukrainian forces launched a successful long-range attack on 3 key Russian targets. One of them is located approximately 1,500 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. The drones struck the Atlas oil depot in the Rostov region, Zenit oil depot in the Kyiv region, and field artillery depot in the Voronezh region. The operation was carried out by Special Operations Forces in collaboration with the Main Directorate of Intelligence and other Defense Forces units. Fighters of the 28th Brigade Air Defense Unit hit a Russian Su-25 aircraft. According to the commander of the ground forces, this action took place in the Kramatorsk direction, where the Russian jet was trying to shell positions of the defense forces units. F-16 jets provided by Western partners took part in repelling massive combined Russian air attack on Ukraine on August 26, stated President Zelensky.
You said about F-16, there's a very good result, very good. Nobody talked about it, but we destroyed already in this huge attack of Russians. We destroyed already some missiles and drones using F-16. I will not share how many, but we did it. Thanks to partners that they gave us F-16s provided to us. But again, it's not enough. We're a small number of F-16, and we need to do wider training mission and etc. We have propositions to the United States. It depends on their permission. They have to be positive on it. They have to look at this real. Because we speak about our territories, not about American territories.
On August 26, Russia launched 236 aerial threats against Ukraine, reported the commander of the Air Force, Mykola Oleksii. According to him, Ukrainian defenders employed a combination of aviation, surface-to-air missile systems, mobile fire units, and electronic warfare to intercept and destroy 201 of these aerial threats. And among the Russian targets that day was the Kyiv hydroelectric power plant dam. It is located near the city of Vyshgorod and is a part of the critical civil infrastructure that generates electricity for the neighboring residential area. The head of the Center for Countering Disinformation, Andriy Kovalenko, stated that there is currently no danger and the integrity of the structure cannot be breached by a missile strike. All of Ukraine's hydroelectric power plants have been targeted by Russian attacks, resulting in a loss of about 40% of generation capacity. This was reported by the General Director of Ukrhydroenergo, Igor Sirota. According to him, over 130 Russian missile strikes have hit the company's facilities across the country. The General Staff of the Armed Forces confirmed using F-16s while repelling Russian attacks on Monday. According to the statement, the jets demonstrated high efficiency, shooting down 4 Russian cruise missiles. After communications with one of the aircraft was lost, it emerged that the jet had crashed and the pilot was killed. The investigation is ongoing and will be conducted by a special commission of the Ministry of Defense. According to the commander of the Ukrainian Air Forces, Mykola Oleksii, the US has also joined the investigation. Pilot Oleksii Mes was killed while defending Ukraine, reported the Air Force Command. On August 26, during one of the biggest Russian attacks, Oleksii destroyed 3 cruise missiles and 1 attack UAV, saving Ukrainians at the cost of his own life. On August 29, his fellow pilots, commanders, friends and colleagues, and hundreds of ordinary civilians came to pay their respects. NATO allies reaffirmed their pledge to strengthen Ukraine's defenses during the NATO-Ukraine Council meeting in Brussels. It comes after recent waves of heavy Russian strikes against Ukrainian civilians and infrastructure. Defense Minister Rustem Umerov briefed allies via video link on the current security situation and priority capability needs. NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg, who chaired the meeting, underlined that allies must continue to provide Ukraine with the equipment and munition it needs to defend itself against Russia's invasion. Long-range strikes, air defense and timely military aid were among the issues that Ukrainian Minister of Foreign Affairs Dmytro Kuleba raised in Brussels. Before the informal meeting among the ministers started, Kuleba underlined that Ukraine's successes in the Kursk region demonstrate that it is capable of regaining the initiative and prevailing on the battlefield. But, he added, Kyiv needs more bold decisions from its partners to capitalize on this momentum.
Since April, when we made a plea for the delivery of more Patriot systems, good progress has been made and announcements were made, but again, some Patriot systems were announced and not delivered yet. And we are, as you are entering a school year, and we have to protect our cities, we have to protect our children, so I will urge all partners who have made their pledges to finally deliver these systems.
Nearly 30,000 Russian troops have been redeployed to the Kursk direction, stated the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Oleksandr Syrsky. According to him, one of the aims of the Kursk operation is to divert Russian forces from Pokrovsk and Kurakhove and to protect civilian infrastructure in the Sumy region.
As of today, we have taken control of 1,294 square kilometers of territory and 100 settlements located on this territory. Also, thanks to the successful actions of our troops, we have significantly replenished the prisoner exchange fund. To date, 594 servicemen of the Russian armed forces have been captured in this area.
Rafael Grossi, International Atomic Energy Agency Director General, visited the Kursk nuclear power plant. He stated that the station is operating in conditions that are close to normal. At the same time, he mentioned that the situation was serious because of the ongoing fighting in the Kursk region.
This nuclear power plant is of the RBMK type. What does this mean? This means that the core of the reactor containing nuclear material is protected just by a normal roof. A comparison like this equating Chernobyl with Kursk, I think, is an exaggeration. But this is the same type of reactor and there is no specific protection. And this is very, very important.
The once thriving coal town of Vuhledar in the Donetsk region has become a stronghold defending Russian attacks for over 2 years. The UNITED24 Media crew met with soldiers that have been holding this settlement against relentless Russian attacks.
Dear viewers, we have finally arrived in Vuhledar, and this is not the state I wanted to see this city in. It's a complete ruin, but it's also a symbol of resilience of the Ukrainian troops, as the soldiers of 72nd Brigade and other units have been holding the defense of the city for over 2 years. By now this ghost town has become their second home. Today we are lucky to talk to these heroes and find out how they are able to hold the defense of the city for so long.
To be honest, the city has changed a lot in terms of destruction over these last 2 years. When we first came here, there was a relatively good life and people. Many more civilians and houses were still intact. And then, quite quickly, it turned into such ruins.
Vuhledar was a small town founded on coal deposits, and before the full-scale war 15,000 people lived here. Most of them worked on 2 large coal mines. You can see what the city looks like now. There's 0 undamaged buildings, there's 0 intact windows, and these are the typical signs of Ruski Mir, the so-called Russian world. Just take a look what the Russian army is doing to Ukrainian cities. This applied not only to Vuhledar, but to all the cities around Ukraine. It is painful to see.
Don't miss the full report on our YouTube channel. Curfew was tightened in the Pokrovsk municipality and in the city of Pokrovsk in the Donetsk region. According to the head of the regional military administration, starting from August 28, there will be restrictions of movement from 3 p.m. till 11 a.m. This curfew will apply to 14 settlements. Ukraine has prepared a list of targets for potential strikes in Russia using American long-range weapons. According to Politico, citing anonymous sources familiar with the matter, it will be presented to President Joe Biden's administration by Ukrainian Defense Minister Rustem Umerov and head of the President's office Andriy Yermak during their visit to Washington. While Ukraine has previously provided some information on potential targets in Russia, this new list is expected to be more detailed. In the coming days, the number of Ukrainian military personnel trained in the European Union will reach 60,000, stated the secretary to the German defense minister before an informal meeting of EU defense ministers. Increasing these training missions is one of the topics they will discuss, mentioned the High Representative of the EU for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy.
The defense ministry will focus on Ukraine. That's where we are using all our resources, our political will, our financial capacity, our military capacity, both industrial and military on itself. You cannot imagine the effort that the European armies are doing in order to support Ukraine. You cannot imagine the amount of military warfare that we are giving to Ukraine. We are already about 700,000 ammunition of 155 caliber. So things are going on.
Ukraine has successfully tested its first domestically produced ballistic missile, stated President Zelensky at the Ukraine 2024 Independence Forum. However, no further details were disclosed.
I thought it might be too soon to talk about it, but I want the public to appreciate the work of our people who are working 24/7 in our defense industry. There was a first successful test of Ukraine's first ballistic missile.
Later, Mikhailo Podolyak, the advisor to the head of the office of the Ukrainian president, reported that Ukraine's new ballistic missile has a range of 600 to 700 kilometers, and its main task will be to destroy the infrastructure that allows Russia to use aviation. One more medal for Ukraine at the Paris Paralympics. Vladislav Bily won the silver in javelin throw on August 30. Yesterday, on the first day of the competition, the Ukrainian national team won 4 medals. All of the awards were in swimming. Anton Kol and Irina Poeda won silver medals, while Anna Gontar and Alexander Komarov both took bronze. The Summer Paralympic Games started in Paris on Wednesday. They will continue until September 8. This year, Ukraine will be represented by 140 athletes in 17 sports. The largest number of Ukrainian Paralympians, 37, will be competing in swimming. Yevgeny Korinets had his leg amputated after he was injured in Bakhmut, where he was serving as a paramedic. Having qualified for the national team in sitting volleyball, he is one of Ukraine's team members at the Paralympic Games in Paris.
I started my service in the defense squadron. We went wherever we were sent to.
Yevgeny, who is a war veteran, shows the military patches he has.
Here's a patch from the 30th Separate Brigade. Dei Gratia is its motto. Here's a trident.
He served as a paramedic and was injured in the Ukrainian city of Bakhmut in March 2023.
There was one thought in my mind. I'm 25, I haven't been anywhere, haven't traveled anywhere, haven't seen the world, and now I'm dying. Now I am traveling. I've been everywhere. The US, China, countries like that, and obviously Europe too.
Yevgeny, whose left leg was amputated at the hip, qualified for the national sitting volleyball team.
It is much better to be here than just sitting at home. I have a hobby. There are people who are similar to me. They face the same challenges as I do. All types of sport must be popularized in towns and cities, so that war veterans won't sit at home not knowing what to do. Guys have to keep calling them, telling them this activity is available. Let's train together. Let's go, come on.
Now he is one of 140 Ukrainian athletes competing at the Summer Paralympic Games in Paris, where Ukraine's team needs nothing but victory.
We go to the Paralympics to win.
That's it for today. We're United24 Media. Thanks for being with us and see you next week.